Hey everyone, hi
Hello.
Malamir.
Hi, Chris.
Hi Malamir, as if I've not just been going through it for the last half hour. Malamir's
Yoga
heard
pants.
every single swear word in my vocabulary in the last hour. That has been one of the most stressful times. So first of all, please let me apologise to everyone who is here, who's still here, for being late. I have just had one technical issue after another. Like fixing one technical issue just seems to have created a whole series of other issues, and it's the usual one. You'll all be kind of used to it. It's the one where my video is freezing. It was particularly bad. Like we were looking at what was it, 30 seconds, Malamir, before like, I would be
Yeah,
doing things like changing to the table camera, and it
it took
wasn't
30
showing up for like
seconds. Yeah.
yeah, it took about that long. So that's no good if I'm laying cards out. Do you know what I mean? Because I'll be talking about one person's cards and you'll just be seeing the last person's cards. So I wanted to get it fixed, but it just seems to have like we spent we I spent half an hour trying to set up my phone and let me just hey guys. So we've got that there as a backup. Um, the audio was effing up royally. And in the whole time, in that half hour, the the thing on this seems to have just sorted itself. Uh, so we're going to breathe
Yoga
now,
breaths. It's
and
all good.
yeah. So Malamir and I, well, we were going live anyway, weren't we, Malamir? And it
Yes.
was Malamir that had the lovely idea of trying to raise some money for the Turkey Syria earthquake appeal that the Red Cross are doing. So the Red Cross are like kind of going out with loads of supply, providing lots of aid to the people that are most affected by um, by the earthquake. How many? It's killed thousands, hasn't it? How many people has the earthquake killed so far? Do we know? Is it around about 30,000? Was the last figure I've seen?
I haven't seen anything within the past couple of days, but it's between the people it's killed plus the number of people who end up being displaced. And actually during times like this, it's the most vulnerable. It's in particular children who are at extreme risk, particularly actually of trafficking, of human trafficking. And women and girls as well, just at risk in terms of trying to recover from displacement. And then, of course, everyone is also at risk in terms of basic life necessities, disease, etc. So the recovery is immense. So
Mm.
it's immense.
Yeah. So I figure every little bit counts. Anything we can raise to help, then it's absolutely worth it. And I think the Red Cross, anything that's donated, I know for us, anyone in the DEC, and the Red Cross is part of the DEC in the UK, which is I can't remember what that stands for now. It's gone out of my head, but it's
Yeah, I
basically
don't
a
remember.
collection of the biggest 15 UK charities, I believe.
Mhm.
Um, the government are matching donations. I think it's the government, they're matching donations that are made. So whatever we raise today will be matched by the government. Now, the way that we're going to do it, Malamir and I did have a wee bit of a chat about how we should do the donations thing, and we thought it'd be quite good, and it'd be a good wee booster for us both, but also for everyone here to kind of be able to see how much we're actually raising. Um, so I'm going to ask, if people don't mind, I'm going to ask that people actually PayPal their donations, and it will come through to me, and then I'll make a mass donation on everyone's behalf after this. I can even like kind of I'm happy to kind of share with you guys like the receipt. Anyone who PayPal's me, or I could even kind of show you live or something, so as that you can see that that the money's being donated. Um, so yeah, that's what we're going to do. So if you'd like, so we're doing tarot readings. Funnily enough, that's what we're here to do. If you'd like a tarot reading, then please pop your question in the chat. It It doesn't have to be capital letters. I'm sure between Malamir and I will catch them, and I'll kind of a star them, and we'll be able to keep an eye on them. I will. So first things first, right? I'm going to put on this banner. Okay, so that's the banner that lets you know what to do if you want a reading. If you look at the comments on YouTube, I've pinned Malamir's comment that has the link for PayPal. So if you just click on that link, that should take you to the page where you can send a donation. As I say, it will come through to my PayPal. So I think I still show up as Chris Kelly on PayPal. So if that's where it's showing that it goes, then that's all good. That's the right place. And there's no minimum or anything like that. Just whatever you can spare to help these people out, really. And in return, you're getting a wee tarot reading. So pop your question in the chat if you can, make a wee donation. And yeah, let's have some fun and do some tarot readings. Before we or just to let people get their questions in and let them build up, I'll go through the chat and I'll say hi to everyone. I'll get Malamir to give us all a wee update on what's happening with her. And I had pre-warned her that I was going to do that. So this is your pre-warning, Malamir. You've got the time that it takes me to get through the chat. And then we'll kick off, and hopefully I should have some questions in by then. So first of all, here we have our lovely Malamir. Thank F that she's here. We also have Janine Barnes. Hi, Janine. Hope you're doing okay. We've got Red Wing. Hi, Red Wing. My very lovely Deanne is here. Hi, Deanne. And I wonder if Max is here too. Hi, Max and Bela and Ryan. I'm just going through all your family now. Sorry. Debbie from Aquarius Owls here. I've got Laurie's here. Let's see. Oh, apparently it's Debbie's birthday. Happy birthday, Debbie.
Happy birthday.
Let's see. So this is my husband, everyone. So he says this is because his tech support was busy. Yeah, my tech support was busy, but tech support has basically turned off all devices. He's turned off the TV. He's sitting down there staring at a blank wall, basically. Because that I've got the internet to myself. So can everyone just give a massive thank you to McFad in the chat? He's an absolute star.
That's very kind of you, Sandy.
Let's see. Oh, I've just lost you. Regina's here. Hi, Regina. Regina is working and lurking. We've got Celtic Tarot Sheila. Hi, Sheila. How are you doing? And I believe that's us at the bottom. So, Malamir, what's new with you? What's been happening? Is there anything that you would like us all to know? Have you got any juicy gossip for us?
Juicy gossip. I'm not really a juicy gossip kind of person in general. Although
that sounds like someone who's got gossip.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I could just say is that, it's possible that at some point, in 2023, it's possible there may be another project potentially coming or not. But I'll drop that. But no, and genuinely, I'm not really I've never been a gossip type person. But as for how things are going with me, I am off of my full-time job this week and next week, which is why we were able to do this, which is wonderful, because otherwise this is usually while I'm working. So it's been great. I've been able to to do other things with my time and really recharge and just kind of get to fully be myself in my space, which is wonderful. And a couple people have asked me over Instagram how Goliath is doing. Goliath is the newest member of our family from a few months ago. He is half Maine Coon, we think, and half domestic short hair. So he's a very large cat. He is, I think, 17 pounds, and that's like a healthy weight. He's not overweight. So Goliath is doing great. And little Miss Bear, she is the elderly cat. She's the one who's over 20 years old. She's actually doing great. She is the Energizer
Oh,
Bunny. She just keeps going, and every time she gives us a bit of a scare, and we rush her to the vet, and which we did have to do this week actually, but all the results came back normal, and she's doing great. So, so we're all doing well. And really, that's I guess that's the update, except for the mysterious potential thing that I may or may not have to chat about later this year.
cool. Well, that sounds very exciting. And see, you did have some gossip.
Just a little.
No, I'm joking. I'd use the word gossip like just what's the goss? Like, what's your chat? What's the goss? Yeah. So, guys, I'm not seeing questions come through. So, if we can pop any questions, or if you just, even if you just want like a general reading or something, just say me, or if you've got a particular question, pop your question in the chat. Like, do something. So as that we know to read for you, because I don't know about you, Malamir, but I'm not a big fan of like just picking someone at random and reading for them when they've not asked for
Yeah.
it.
No,
Feels a wee
yeah,
bit icky,
yeah.
doesn't it?
Enthusiastic consent is important for readings as well.
So, whilst we're waiting on questions,
Deanne has a question here.
Oh, right. My StreamYard chat is just a wee bit behind.
And then Regina's also got a question as well.
Right. Okay. Cool. So let's start off with our very lovely Deanne. It says, I'd love to know what should I focus on for the next 7 days or so.
We really should have some shuffling music going on.
What are you thinking? Like the Mos Eisley Cantina music? We were
that would be
almost
better than the Jeopardy theme.
Do you know we were almost going to make that so you know how when you're getting married, when you're signing the register or signing the marriage certificate, and they usually have like, well, we ended up having, I can't even remember if we did have it, but they said to us that the bagpipes would be kind of a playing in the background just as a wee lull. So that was what we ended up going with, but we were kind of toying with the idea of having the Mos Eisley Cantina music for that.
I don't actually remember what we I don't remember what music we had for the signing, but we chose oh my gosh, what's it called? The guy's name Vince Guaraldi. Did I pronounce that right? He's the one who did the Charlie Brown theme. It was the Charlie Brown theme. We had the Charlie Brown theme for walking back like out. So it was very cute and fun and uplifting, because we had, more like serious, like beautiful music for coming in, but Vitamin String Quartet version of oh my gosh, I don't remember the name off the top of my head now, but it was like a contemporary song, but it was a quartet that was playing it. So a little bit more serious for coming in, but then for going out, it was, the Charlie Brown song. So we kind of, jazzed our way out on that.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. That's really cute. Right. Would you like to go first or would you like to go second?
How about you go first?
Okay. So I've got 3 courts, which is weird, Deanne. But yeah, I've got the Page of Swords, the Knight of Wands, and the Page of Pentacles. Okay. So, I mean, this is just all coming through as like a bit of a scattered mishmash of information, because it's like covering all the bases. Do you know what I mean? This is like you're learning, you're enjoying yourself, and you're kind of a working. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like there's a bit of everything. It's almost like the cards are saying, there's not one thing that we can tell you to focus on. You've actually got a couple of things that you need to kind of focus your attention on over the next few days. I mean, even looking at the elements, do you know what I mean? We've got air, fire, earth. So it's not as if there's like one consistent kind of a flow through here. Um, so yeah, I'm like in terms of your, just in terms of how you're approaching things, how you're thinking about things, and maybe like the kind of a problem solving side of things. This Page of Swords always makes me think of the importance of being innovative, So there's maybe some stuff that you're going to come up against where the immediately intuitive approach isn't quite going to cut it. You're going to have to come up with something outside the box. You're going to have to come up with something a wee bit out there in order to get yourself from A to B. So, for example, this page, if we can see her, she's taking her sword and she's using it to bridge the gap between these two what looks like cliffs. Okay, she's full of ideas. She's still learning new stuff. So there's a lot going on in the mental space there, but it's like it's how you use your intellect, how you use your ideas and stuff. And I suppose you can get a similar feel for the Page of Pentacles. This is someone as well who's learning, who's new, new to whatever it is that they're doing. They're picking up new skills. I suppose in the middle there, that like the thing that we need to remember is you don't work too hard. You kind of need to take some time for yourself to enjoy yourself. And this night, as opposed to these two pages, this night to me feels like she's having a right good time. Okay, so focus on the stuff that you need to. I think that you're being pulled in a couple of different directions here, but remember to kind of enjoy yourself. Remember to take time chilling out with the kids, with Ryan. Maybe even you need to take some time out, like just some you time. Spend some time in the tarot room. Find your happy place. Um, yeah, I'm gonna stop there. Otherwise, I'll just keep going round in circles. So, what do you think, Malamir?
Yeah, absolutely. I pulled some cards here as well, and the funny thing is, Chris, that the same elements came up, and same ideas. So I pulled the 5 of Swords and 7 of Swords, and I think. And then there's 2 other cards that also came up. I went to pull a third, but 2 wanted to come out, and I'll get to those in a moment. The 5 of Swords and the 7 of Swords. I think what that's saying, and it's kind of getting at the idea that Chris said, like you're trying to do a lot of things in trying to figure out where you can best focus your attention. What really does need your attention, where will be the best use of your attention. And, on the innovation piece, is there a way that you can think a little bit differently about some of the work that you're doing, some of your efforts? Can you do more than one? Are there opportunities to kind of do multiple things at the same time? Are there ways of being a little bit savvy about it, right? Like, do you actually need to put in as much tangible effort as you think you do? Maybe there are other, maybe there are other ways of going about the work that you need to do. But you can also only carry so many of the swords without slicing yourself. So, you don't need to carry it all. And one thing I would also say is that because those were the cards in terms of where you need to focus your energy. But then I also asked, what else do you need to know? What else would be helpful for you? And the 2 cards came up, which is the 2 of Wands and the 7 of Pentacles. And I actually love those cards together. And they speak a lot to what Chris was also talking about, which is that, okay, so there's a lot going on that you have to do, but don't get so caught up in all the things that you're trying to do that you forget to look ahead. Like, what are the things, like I think you mentioned in the chat something about a fresh start, right? Take some time. That 7 of Pentacles, that's not movement, like big movement energy, right? That's very quiet and stable and contemplative. That's, and combined with the 2 of Wands, that's actually taking time to think, what do I actually want? Where do I want to focus my attention? What are the things that are going to really feed my creative needs, and as well as where do I already have resources? Where do I already have things that are kind of working for me that I can kind of use to build the momentum on those areas where you want a fresh start? So anyway, I hope that's helpful. And yes, it was the same energies. It was air, fire, and earth. So I think those cards were very much in tandem.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Well, I hope that was helpful, Deanne. And thanks very much, Melanie.
Yeah.
That's cool that we're pulling the same elements. I wonder if our readings are going to be in sync. Did a live recently with Regina, and we found that like the cards we were pulling were very much in sync. So I love it when that happens.
That's awesome.
Okay, having a wee bit of lag on the video, but we'll persevere with it and see how we get on. Okay, so the next question that I can see, but let's just have a wee look at what Deanne said. So that's my life. The cards say do it all. Trying to get a fresh start in new areas. That ones is me having free time on Saturday. Oh, that's pretty cool. We all have a nice wee chilled out Saturday. The straggler energy from shitty 2022. Lots of rebranding myself emotionally. That's the best way that I can describe it. She says, thank you both very much. Well, thank you. And thank you very much for donating, Deanne. That was really kind of you. Okay, so we're on to Regina's question. So Regina says, I'd love a general reading for my upcoming year. So how do you want to do this, Malamir? Like, I'm trying to think how many. Yeah, there's like there's a good chunk of the year left. So do we just both want to kind of ask it generally, or do we want to take half of what's remaining of the year each? Like what do you think's best?
We could go by themes, right? Like in terms of the elements, the way that they speak to Regina's year, for example, like from an emotional perspective with the cups, from a tangible life perspective from the pentacles, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
We could do that, or we could do we could go by quarter. Regina, do you have any preferences on how we do that? Do you want us to look at like from a time, because I know some people really like a time perspective. Like I know for myself, I really like going by chunks of time when I'm looking ahead. Or do you prefer themes? What do you prefer?
So Regina says,
well, you have to do like 17 more shufflings, don't you? In the meantime, general themes is good, is what Regina's saying.
Ooh, the shades. General themes is fine. Right. Okay. Cool. Okay. Well, we just I'll probably do a 4-card elemental reading then. Will you do the same or?
Okay. Yeah. Cool. That sounds good.
Okay. My camera's behind again, so are you good to go first?
Yeah,
Malamir, I can. Or
yeah. Okay. So Regina, what I'm going to do is I've shuffled the deck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip cards until I come to the first wand. I really feel like we should start with wands, which will get at where you're focusing on what will be the most useful for you in terms of inspiration. And I got the 4 of wands. So 4 of wands in terms of inspiration, but not just like, oh, I feel inspired, but like in terms of energy, like how are you actually going to energize yourself and take care of your own energetic well-being? And 4 of wands, and particularly this 4 of wands, this is from my deck, right? So it's the heart chakra. This is about how can you come home to yourself? Those are the words that are coming into my mind right now. How can you come home to yourself? How can you feel more safe and more comfortable with yourself. I'm not sure if you've read a book called No Bad Parts by Richard Schwartz. That's really popping up strongly for me as something that would be incredibly helpful for you in terms of helping you energetically. Basically, the idea is that, we all have different parts of ourselves, and they're all trying to protect us and take care of us. And when we, but if we're avoiding any of those parts, or like kind of shutting them down, or like saying, oh, no, like I don't have time for that, or no, that's silly. It actually means that, one of our needs is not being met. So I would encourage you to look at that. But it's really about being at peace and aligned and at home with yourself. So next, I'm going to look at emotions. So the next cups that comes up. Okay, 3 of Cups. So this is saying, from an emotional perspective, to look at how you can express your needs for what brings you joy, for what makes you feel good, for what makes you happy. So in terms of, friendships and relationships, to express a little bit more what you want. And I don't know if that's something that comes easily for you, or if that's something that's a bit more challenging, because for some people it can be. But this to me is really saying that it's okay to, to say to a friend or someone else that you have in your life, to say what you need, or to ask for help. Or maybe it's as simple as, actually, I really don't want to see that movie. I would much rather go to the bookstore instead. Or, I would actually really prefer just to go for coffee. It's okay to have preferences, and it's okay to communicate those. So in terms of mental energy, so I'll go to the first swords that I come across, and that is the 7 of Swords. So it's interesting. It's the second time this card is coming up. It's okay to be savvy when you need to be. Okay. So I know that, we all aim and want to be really honest and forthcoming. And there's also a time when you kind of have to check in with yourself and the situation to assess, is everything that I'm seeing actually what's there? Or do I need to actually take a pause and question, what are the motives of the person who is talking to me, right? What's actually going on around me, whether this is in a work situation or other relationships or interactions. It's okay to be a little bit savvy, and to not just assume that everything that you're seeing is actually what it is. Okay. So it's okay to question more. And then, so finally, Pentacles. So I'll look at the first Pentacles that come up, and that is the Knight of Pentacles. So Knight of Pentacles is not fast moving energy, but it is slow, and it is steady, and it is sure. It is very certain energy. And, I'm not sure where things stand with you in terms of some, decisions you're making related to your tangible life this year. But what I'm really seeing here is that there is slow and steady progress being made. If there has been something that you've been working to, it is underway. It is coming. And again, I'm not sure what part of your life specifically that is about, but it does feel like things are on the move. They may be going a little bit slower than you would have liked, but they certainly are underway. So I hope that resonates and that's helpful. Chris, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, thank you for that. So I'm doing an elemental reading as well, but so I've approached this a wee bit differently. For me, it's just a card for each element. And just to be awkward, I tend to think about them in terms of fire, air, water, earth, rather than water then air. So just so yeah, I didn't. I'm not being awkward on purpose. That's just how I tend to do my elemental readings. So we're starting at the top left with fire. Then so I've got the 9 of Wands. I've got the 4 of Wands for your air element. For water, I've got the 3 of Pentacles. And for earth, I've got Judgment. Regina, I'm going to kind of a broadly summarize what I think I'm seeing here, and then I'll kind of a try and then we'll go deeper into each element. So, see overall, I actually see some fundamental changes being made in your. It's fire for me. This is a reading that's all about. This is all about the fire, you know. So for me, this is talking about things like your, you know, your big meaningful projects that you've got going on, your career maybe, you know, your livelihood, the things that you do in your life that you're, you know, that are going to be carved onto your tombstone, your gravestone. Do you know what I mean? The things that really make you you. That to me is what fire is all about. Um, and that's where I see this shift coming in, because we're starting out, you know, where you kind of start yourself out is at the Nine of Wands. And this is someone who's very much, you know, accomplished. It, they almost feel as though they've done what they came here to do. You know, they've done what they needed to do, and they're actually thinking, you know, is it time for me to move on and do something a bit different? Okay. So that's what we see in the actual fire element. We've got like this high fire Nine of Wands card happening there. So there's lots of flux in your fire, and we kind of see that reflected across. If we look down, if I just you know go all kinds of crazy and take them out of order. If we look at Earth, we've got Judgment happening there, and that to me is what I'm talking about. But this is the big change that I'm seeing. It's this fundamental shift. It's this kind of a, you know, something just changing, something being, it's like letting go of something. And you know, finding out where, you know, where the land lies, where who you are without this thing that you're letting go of. Okay. Um and you like the kind of a mental space, you've got the Four of Wands, and that's all about creating stability. So you're kind of a trying to, and that this is a card that I have in common with Malamir, because she pulled the Four of Wands for your fire element. So for me, that's kind of a talking about, you know, if you do make this fundamental shift that I'm seeing, then your first port of call, like where your mind is going to go first, where you have to concentrate your intellect and your mental energies, is making a plan. Like, how can I make this thing work? You know, what are the fundamentals? How can I actually create a good base to kick off of? All right. And then in the water element, we're maybe getting a bit of a clue as to the type of change that you're going to make. Because right now, Regina, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that you're pretty much a sole worker. You know, you've got your kind of a wirecraft business, along with any other things that you do, but you kind of tend to, you know, work alone. Here we've got the Three of Pentacles coming in, and not only the Three of Pentacles does that mean to talk about working together with other people, but also it's coming in your water element. Um, so that I see you really connecting with other people in order to bring about this shift that we're seeing. It could even, like for me, water, and like kind of those emotional connections, when we see them coming into a reading that seems to be predominantly about career and business and things, it actually makes me think of like customer service, you know, or maybe not particularly customer service, but it's interactions with like other staff members, with colleagues, with customers, with clients. It's the kind of a client relationship type thing that I'm seeing coming up here. Um, so yeah, that's how I see. That's where I see the focus being for the rest of your year, Regina. So if you're looking to bring about that, if you're looking to bring about a change, you know, for something to change in that kind of realm of your life, then I feel like the stars are maybe aligning a wee bit for you, and this year might be a really good time for you to kind of plant those seeds and get that ball rolling. Um, so yeah, I hope that that's helpful and inspiring to you. Um, yeah, and you know, judgment is like I always talk about it being unplugged from the Matrix card. You know that that bit when Neo's first kind of realizes that there's this whole world beyond what he knew. That's what that is. You know, it's that kind of a like profound shift in your perspective, that judgment shows. Yeah, I'll stop there because, as I say, I'm liable to keep going on for ages if I don't. But yeah, thank you for your question. I really enjoyed reading that. Okay, so let's see. So Regina says the reading that really resonated and says thank you to Malamir. Okay, let's move on to the next person then. So we've got our lovely Debbie, who is looking for a little birthday read. Oh, and thank you for donating, Debbie, as well. I think I might need to bring in Chris number 2 here because
got frozen.
yeah, like as you can see, I'm shuffling. I've been shuffling my cards for ages, but on the other camera, they're still showing as being there. So, look, 2 hands, and there's another one on the table. So magic.
So, Debbie, I'm not sure if things have been. I'm seeing a couple of cards here that would suggest that perhaps things have been a little bit challenging lately, and you know. So what I asked the cards for here was for a message for you, but also something that's important for you to know. And the first card came up was the Five of Pentacles, and in this deck, and it might be a bit hard to see with the
hang on, I can make you bigger.
The light. So, here we go. So if you can see, there's a person who's looking at the house and the tree is fallen in on the roof, but you can see that there's also that pathway behind the person that's leading away from the house. And so, that being the first card that's come up, it's okay that, that things may have felt tough at times. And it's okay that, that for whatever you've been through, that there has been some grief. And grief, grief is not a bad thing, and it doesn't fit neatly into a box. And so, and we can grieve anything, right? Anything and anyone. We can grieve situations, changes, uncertainty. And so what this card is saying is that it's okay to acknowledge what you've experienced and what has really affected you, and also to acknowledge that that you also do have another path to follow now. You can take all of everything that you've learned with you, and you can follow this other new path that's opening up for you. And the what you needed to know card is actually really lovely. It's the Nine of Chalices, which it shows a person who's floating. They're floating calmly in water under a starlit sky. And this is also related to the root chakra. And I think what this is telling you is that, as much as you might have had some challenges to process, that it's also okay to let yourself feel soothed. It's okay to pursue peace. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't, sometimes, we tell ourselves that, well, it has to be hard. Sometimes, things we just have to struggle. There has to be struggle. There has to be, suffering. Someone said that to me the other day, and then I countered it and I said, but you know what? I think also you reach a point where it's enough. It's enough of the suffering. It's enough of the challenge. And, but sometimes we've gotten kind of stuck in that way of feeling that, it just has to feel hard like this. It's okay to allow yourself to be soothed and to pursue things that help you feel that peace. So even if it's something small, or if it's little decisions or big decisions that you're taking, um, it's okay to pursue your peace and things that make you just feel back at home, that make you feel that help you feel really safe and cozy and comfortable. There's nothing wrong with comfort. And in terms of, I asked for, what could be a little, like a little bit of birthday sparkle for you. Funny enough, the four of chalices came up. I'm like, really? But uh, but interestingly, I think this is also about not, and in this deck, it's about just sitting with all of the feelings and allowing them to be what they are, right? That sometimes there can actually be a lot of peace that comes from allowing ourselves to just sit with our feelings. I think sometimes we're almost afraid of allowing ourselves to feel something. But actually, if we can just sit with everything that is, we can realize that actually it's perhaps not as intimidating or maybe even as big as we thought that it was. And there's also a lot of there is stability coming for you within this. Moving from the 5, which is all about change, to the 9, which is the ending of a cycle, to be followed by the 4, which is really about getting established, getting more settled. I think you're in a place that's moving to a lot more peace now. And so I hope that is helpful for you. Oh, I'm glad that's on point. I'm really glad, Debbie.
So I think my reading is quite consistent. I need to remember, look over here. My reading is quite consistent with Malamir's because I'm starting off with the 6 of Swords, and in particular, Malamir talked about that path in her 5 of Discs. She talked about that path that's kind of a leading away from the difficult time that's being had with the tree in the house. And I suppose that's kind of what we see something similar here in the 6 of Swords. For me, the 6 of Swords is all about, after the difficulties in the 5, the upheaval, the instability. We harmonize, it might be physically moving away from a particular place, or it might just be kind of a getting yourself into a different headspace. But either which way, it's all about, just calming the mind, getting yourself into a better place, and just generally, I suppose, feeling better. I know, Debbie, that you've had some, quite a difficult year, I think, with how, your eyes and the problems that you've had there. Um, the positive thing though is like where what we see with the other 2 cards, because it's kind of for me this is kind of like saying like, well, you can treat your birthday as being like a turning point, right? Things are getting a lot better. You've got you have come a long way, and there's at points it's been really tough, but we then have the 9 of Pentacles and the absolutely gorgeous Knight of Cups. So the 9 of Pentacles is what your birthday's all about. For me, it's about. I mean, you work hard. Um, the 9 of Pentacles is telling you to take some time to actually enjoy what you've worked for. Okay, so there's lots of people that work themselves into an early grave. They work themselves really hard. They have a really intense life, and they forget the reason that they're working is so that they can, at the end of the day, they can come home and maybe buy themselves that wee bottle of wine that they wanted, or buy themselves that extra. I'm saying buy as if it's all about money. It's because I'm a Pentacles card. It's not. But what I'm meaning is you have to kind of take some time to treat yourself, and your birthday is a perfect excuse to do that. Okay. That Knight of Cups. Well, that I mean that's my boyfriend. I don't know why he's turning up in your reading, Debbie. No, I feel as though this is just kind of making the best out of the emotional connections that you've got in your life. Okay, and he's offering you a bunch of flowers. How can you say no to a man with a bunch of flowers? This might be your husband, kind of treating you because it's your birthday that we're seeing here. Your close family. I know you've got close family. Your son, who I believe is getting married soon. You know, this for me is like, enjoy what you've worked hard to create for yourself, but also let other people spoil you as well. You know, enjoy those connections that you've got around about you in your life, and it's an opportunity to kind of to build on them. You know, the Knights are active energies, and so it follows that the Knight of Cups is very active in the emotions and the connections with other people. So yeah, use the opportunity to kind of connect with the people around about you. If someone offers you a wee birthday party, then make sure you say yeah. You know, don't be all, oh no, I can't, I don't like being the centre of the attention. No, this is your time to be the centre of attention. Um, I'm probably saying all that too late because I know it is your birthday, so maybe the birthday party's already been. Well, no, because I've not had my invite through, so it could possibly have been. Yeah, I think that you're going to really, you know, really enjoy yourself, and like this energy with the Nine of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups, we're going to kind of try and kind of let that be how the year goes on, okay? And we're going to try and see an end to some of the more difficult times that have kind of got us to this point. Yeah, hope that resonated, and I hope that it was helpful. So let's have a wee look.
Yeah, Debbie agrees. The Knight is definitely her handsome husband.
It's your husband. Well, I truly am trying to enjoy the little things whilst I make my way through this eye challenge. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a tough time for you, I know. Just out of interest, Debbie, how are you? Like, how are things just now? With that, you're very welcome. Okay. Our next question comes from the lovely Laurie. And Laurie says, could I get a general for the next week or so? And Laurie's donated as well. Thank you so much. What I'll do is, when we're getting kind of at the end of the readings, I'll log into my PayPal again and we'll see how much we've managed to raise. Unless you want me to have a wee check just now. I don't mind either way.
Oh, no worry, Janine. We'll definitely get to you. I saw your question, so we will get to you. Don't worry.
Yeah, I think I've started it. Yeah, Janine, you're next on the list, actually, I think. So, yeah, we'll get there.
Do you want me to go first, Chris? Or are you still doing your 38?
I've got my cards in front of me, but
oh, they're not showing yet.
well,
I just keep adding.
17 to
I just
38.
keep exactly. I just keep making the number bigger every time.
Yeah, you can go first if you want, Melanie, if you're ready to.
Okay, yeah, because your still isn't showing. Okay, so Lori, I'm not sure what you've got going on in your week. Looks nice though, because I was asking, okay, so what do you need to do in this coming week? And the card that showed up is the Three of Chalices. So this is about taking a moment to celebrate. So I'm not sure if you've just kind of completed something, or you have, or you're, able to maybe get together with people you haven't seen in a while or something. But this is really about, enjoy the good things this week. Really revel in the good things, and also in connection with other people. And in terms of how that relates to the next card, where I asked, what do you need to know this week? It was the Ace of Pentacles. Sorry, it's getting a bit of glare. Ace of Pentacles. So I think this is about knowing that um, that there is something good coming. And it's funny because usually with the aces, it's not usually about seeds that have been planted, but that's coming across really strongly, is that and also the in the card, the character is actually looking off in the direction of the past. So to me, what's really coming through strongly is that there's some kind of connection you've made in the past, or some kind of seed that you have already planted is taking form, and it's going to be good for you. And so whatever that is, whether it's big or small, to celebrate that, right? Whether it's a connection that you've made with someone who turns out to be a good friend, or or whether this is something related to work, or to creativity. Uh, I also asked a question on where can you reduce your attention in the next week? Because, I don't know about you, but I know that there are definitely times where it's easy to get into a kind of pattern, or to just have a lot of momentum of energy going in a particular direction. But sometimes we're also missing other things along the way because there's so much energy going in that particular path. And so I asked about, where would it be useful to reduce some energy? And interestingly, the Justice card came up. And so, I think with the theme that I'm seeing here is that it's really about a little bit more ease and relaxation, and dare I say fun, this coming week, and a little bit less harshness. Okay. So it doesn't mean, throwing everything to the wind, of course, but, this is really about more ease, more fun, more trusting in the work that you've already done and the seeds you've already planted, and a little bit less harshness, particularly as it relates to your identity. And that's something that just came up to me now. So I hope that is helpful, and I'll hand it back over to Chris.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so you can see the cards I've got here on the table. I've got the Nine of Cups, Five of Pentacles, and the Knight of Cups. It's actually really funny because the reading that Malamir gave, I feel actually really resonated with the cards that have come up for me, because Malamir was talking about you're maybe kind of completing something, coming to the end of something, and for me the nines are very much a card about completion. Usually the spin that I put on the Nine of Cups is it's like I've got everything that I need now. It's time for me to get something that I want. So you've kind of come to the end of one thing, and you're kind of it's almost like you're right. Okay, all the necessaries are covered right now. It's time for a wee treat, and that's how we get to the wish card. But in any event, it feels as though we're coming to the end of something. That Nine of Cups, it's like she's so elated, she's so happy, she's so fulfilled, but she's immediately followed by the Five of Pentacles. So I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but do you ever get that sometimes where, like, well, the Sunday blues, like I'm sure we can all relate to the Sunday blues. Like I sometimes get it, like if our friend like stays over on a Saturday night, and then see when it comes to the end of that kind of a like movie night, or when they're going home on Sunday or whatever it is, I get a wee feeling like, oh, I really enjoyed that. I don't really want it to end, that kind of a thing. This feels to me like it's the Sunday blues situation. It's like you were so kind of like stimulated, fulfilled, and happy with what was going on here. This just seems to be us kind of coming to terms with the fact that, right, okay, well that's done now. It's now time to move on to something else. The good thing is that the Knight of Cups is showing up. Okay, so you're maybe looking at kind of coming towards maybe the end of the coming week. I'm not sure. Just feels like this Five of Pentacles feels like something we kind of need to work through. We need to kind of work with those emotions. We need to sit in them for a bit, long enough to be able to kind of raise our head up and realize that we've actually got the key that to open up this door and let us out and look at what's outside. We've got Debbie's husband from the previous reading. No, I'm joking. We've got the Knight of Cups. Okay. Basically, what I'm seeing there is just some sort of offer. It's some sort of offer. It's some sort of kind of a proposal. It doesn't need to particularly be romantic, although never complain when it is. But there's just something nice, something light, something nice, something a wee bit less serious. As much as we love the Nine of Cups, it's very, very intense emotional energy. And now, don't get me wrong, the Knight of Cups can be intense when he wants to be. He's got that fire element to him as well. And water and fire together. It can be quite volatile, but at the same time, it can just give you that, just that freedom from all those intense energies. It can let you chill out for a bit. Just go and sit with them, have a picnic, maybe have a wee nosy at what's in that envelope, because I know we all want to know. Yeah, go for a wee ride on that horse, and I do mean the horse in the background. Just enjoy yourself, and yeah, that's what I see happening there. I think this is the thing that we need to work through, this Five of Pentacles, but I can absolutely see you doing that because we've got this kind of a much more positive, much more sunny feeling card coming out at the end. Okay, so some stuff to work through, but I feel as though you can make a really good week of it, Laurie. And Laurie had mentioned, so last week Laurie was telling me about her, I think it's like a calligraphy competition, if I remember rightly. So my scroll went okay. We will know around the 28th who won. Turning it in was a nightmare as my computer and camera refused to cooperate. Oh no. Well, I take it you managed to get it handed in then at the end. So yeah, but I'm glad that it's done for you. Maybe that's what we're seeing here in the Nine of Cups. But yeah, fingers crossed. I'm excited to hear about whether you win. So you'll need to let us know. Keep us updated. Okay. So let me just take the star off that. Our next reading is for Janine. And Janine says, can you do a general reading for me, please? Sorry, can you do a general reading for me for the year, please?
Janine, do you prefer looking at themes, or do you prefer looking at a timeline? Like do you want us to look at like quarters of the year, like kind of like first quarter, second quarter, third, fourth, like 3-month kind of blocks, or what would you, or do you want us to look at themes like we did in a previous question? Just let us know in the chat what you prefer. And it'll give time.
Chris will
It'll give Chris time with his 56 shuffles. How many shuffles do you think I'll have you up at by the end of this?
Oh gosh.
Oh, I'm just teasing. I appreciate that you shuffle, and I mean mathematically, given your background, but I mean mathematically, you are correct, right? If you shuffle 7 times, that is the way, right? Statistically, to ensure the perfect distribution, right? Or that it is in fact shuffled.
Yeah, I mean, I should clarify. The 7 riffle shuffles is my method for shuffling up a deck that's in order. So if there's a deck in order, if I do 7 riffle shuffles, and if it's like a good deck for riffle shuffling, then for me that's the way to get it randomized. I don't need to do that before every single reading, because like when I put cards back in the deck, I'll tend to put them in at different points.
Yeah, I do too.
So yeah, so I feel as though the deck's well shuffled. I'm just kind of tuning it in to Janine. Let's see. I'm not sure if Janine answered you there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, how about, do you want to do themes and I'll do quarters? That way we can kind of cover both.
Sure.
Okay,
Sounds
let's
good.
do that. Okay. Okay. Do you want to go first? I can't tell if, oh, I can see you've got cards going down. They're going down really
Going a wee
fast
bit
because of the
quicker.
delay. Do you want to go first? Oh, no worries,
Yeah,
Janine.
sure.
We're just getting started for you, Janine, so it's all good.
Sure. So I'll take this first. So Janine, I've done the same thing that I did for Regina. So we're looking at the elements. In your fire, I've got the Ace of Cups. In your air, I've got the Fool. In your water, I've got the Four of Wands. And in your earth, I've got the Sun. Okay. So your fire, I kind of, I said this before. Your fire for me is all about, it's the things that give our life purpose. It's the things that take up probably most of our time and energy. That, that's your fire. It's your baby, as people like to say. Like whether it's your job, whether it's your home improvement project that you've got going on, whatever it might be. You've got an ace coming up there. That suggests to me that there's something new coming up for you in that realm. So it might be that you've got a new job coming up. Given that it's the Ace of Cups, though, I don't know whether I feel so much like it's a completely new job. If you're already in a current job, it might just be a change of department. It's something that's making you feel differently about the work that you're already doing. Okay. So it's not like the Ace of Pentacles or something like that, where we would say, right, okay, well, this seems to be really a very physical shift. This is more an emotional shift in that realm of fire for you. Okay. So something's changing in the kind of a career, the fire space. Um, but it's how you connect to it that seems to be that seems to take the biggest impact. Okay. Now, I do just want to caution you, because you do have that water coming into the element of fire. Now, ace is both the smallest and the biggest water card. Okay. It's the ace, it's the beginning, it's the spark, it's the potential, but it also carries with it the potential of the whole suit. So there's a lot of power here that you're potentially going to be kind of kicking about with. And what I want to be careful of is that we're not putting out the fire, you know, because this is the house of fire, this is the area of fire. We want to be careful that we're not bringing too much emotion into, you know, potentially into the workplace or into whatever it is that you're really passionate about and what you're really trying to do. Because sometimes if we get too emotionally attached, now we all need we all need to be attached to the things that we're doing. We need to care about them, and we need to be emotionally invested in them. But it's when we start to get too, when that's too intense, when that connection's too intense, we tend to get a wee bit tunnel vision. We tend to, you know, not be able to kind of see. Our judgment gets a wee bit affected, or it can. Okay, so that's the only thing that I would caution about having that water card there. And funnily enough, actually, if we jump down to your emotional space, we see that Four of Wands. So the four, it's all about creating that stable space, that stability. That stable, basically that kind of an initial stable structure for you to kick off of. Okay, so whatever the change it is that we see happening, um, that emotionally you're basically stabilizing. Okay, so you're kind of and this could be coming from a place of maybe things have been a wee bit tough, maybe you've been feeling a wee bit under the cosh with everything that's been going on, and we're kind of just trying to get that a bit more feeling a bit more settled about it. Again, the thing that I'll caution about here is we've got water in the space of fire. We also have fire in the space of water. You know, no one's life is completely compartmentalized. You know, we all do have a wee bit of spread, so this could be completely healthy. Just bear in mind what I'm saying, though. You know, when we get too emotionally kind of emotionally connected to the things that we're passionate about, sometimes we tend to kind of leave off other things, and yeah, it can get a wee bit difficult mentally. I mean, this seems to be a whole new like there's I see you kind of I mean the full it's not just about new beginnings, it's about like wiping the slate clean. Okay. Um the Fool is the ultimate card of potential. It's like the zero card. It's the only zero card really that we have in the whole of the tarot. Every other card can be reduced to an integer, to a number that's bigger than zero. Um, so this is the blank slate that you can really do anything with. Now we've got that in the kind of a mental space. So that suggests to me that it's your approach to things, it's how you think about things, it's your understanding of the things around about you. Whatever the change it is that we see happening with the Ace of Cups, it's almost like it's giving you an opportunity to really start afresh, start anew, come at everything with a total beginner mindset, and learn to trust again. You know that this particular fool and the light seers always makes me think of the trust exercise where you fall back and hopefully your pal catches you and doesn't let you fall to the ground. That's what I think about here. Look at how the fool mirrors our sun, our person in the sun as well. You know, they're kind of a submitting to all of the energies of the universe. This person is submitting to all of that kind of the energy of the sun, um, which kind of like parallels the relationship that we have with our sun in the sky. It gives us light, heat, it gives us life, gives us vitamin D. So it's good for us physically, it's good for us mentally, but also like spiritually, emotionally, all of those kind of things. Like we rely on that, on our sun for all of that. um One of the things, and this is working with a Marielle that's really taught me this about the sun. The reason that the sun is that happy, joyous card is because it's when we kind of look up and see, do you know what? See that thing that I'm trying to achieve. See that kind of that idol that I'm trying to kind of aspire to. It's me all along. Do you know what I mean? This is where we really see the value in ourselves. Um, and that's where that kind of a joyous, feeling of self worth comes from. That's coming up in your earth house, in the earth space. Um, so yeah, I mean, just I feel as though like kind of if you follow that, like kind of so the changes that are coming that potentially we're looking at in your career, or with the kind of the passions, the things that you're passionate about, um, they're going to put you in a really good space, not just mentally and emotionally and everything else, but also it's kind of it's kind of like how like people always say like when one thing falls into line in your life, other things kind of tend to start following. I am that I find that happens with me when I feel as though I'm really in control of things with my work. It just seems to follow, everything seems to follow on from that. Things in the house feels much more organized. I feel like I'm much happier in general. And it doesn't always need to lead on from work. I feel I made it sound as though work's the key there. It's not, but um, when one thing falls into place, it feels like everything else does, and that's just what I think I'm seeing with the sun here. Sorry that I went on and on for ages there, Malamir. What do you
It's
think?
all good. It's all good. Janine, I'm not sure. I see you said something in the chat about how you're in Aries with Cancer Moon and Ascendant. So there's some extreme ends going on there. It's interesting. So I've pulled 4 cards to look at the quarters of the year, and I understand we're part of the way through the first quarter. And as we know, years. I mean, the way that no year ever has, all things amazing. And as much as we all have had very difficult years, 2022 was exceptionally difficult for me, as with me and everyone, it's usually not all tough either. So we're going to be looking at some themes that are coming up here as the months go on. So the first one is January through March, which is the Hierophant. And it's interesting because what immediately struck me is that, oh, that's you. And because I mean, the Hierophant, that could mean a lot of things. That could mean, trying to do things that, that are more, part of something official, or, that it could be, something that's traditional. But really what this is feeling like to me is that, you actually have a lot more resources and awareness and strength than I think you've given yourself credit for. Okay. And so something I think that you've been grappling a bit with, and it's 2 things that are kind of coming up here is, first of all, with something that is more established. And I'm seeing some things here you're talking about, stability of living circumstances and relationship. So, that is about something that is stable, and you've been putting in, a great deal of effort on that front. But you also have a lot more inherent experience and worth and resources than I think perhaps you may have given yourself credit for. And so, the Hierophant is also 5, which is about change. And so what I suspect is going on here, and I'm not sure what the transits look like in your birth chart, since you do seem to be into astrology. To me, I think that this January through March period is a period where you're questioning things and trying to decide, okay, what part of this, established feeling that I have right now, what is serving me? Where do I need to make some changes? And I would encourage you during that time to have a lot of confidence in yourself. You actually are much more masterful, I think, than you have given yourself credit for, or that other people around you have maybe given you yourself credit for. Okay. You are very confident and capable, even if it doesn't necessarily feel like it all the time. You absolutely are. For the next month, so that's April, May, June. This is going to be a time where, and it's funny because we're talking about, opposing elements or different elements in each other's houses. So the 3 of Swords comes up, but I want you to look at this 3 of Swords, if you can see that. So this figure is pointing down, and hopefully in the screen you're seeing it's pointing in the correct direction of the future. So this person is being very resolute and is recognizing that there is a time to apply mind over matter, right? Like you spoke to, to being both Aries and Cancer Moon. So there's a lot of air going on there, but the 3 of Swords is also really it's about yourself and your needs and expressing what you need and directing where your thoughts are going. Okay. And so between April to June, it's going to be really important for you to be focusing on where you're directing your thoughts and focusing on the future. Okay. Really looking at the future is going to be important for you during that time. And you're incredibly strong because the person in this card, and again, it's like this strength keeps coming up, right? These characters, these are strong, very capable characters. Okay. So I want you to remember that. And then we get to the second part of the year, and I want to assure you that things lighten up. Okay. Things lighten up a lot for you, Janine. You just have to make it through that time of uncertainty, right? Because I think that's the biggest thing that it's going to feel like between now and the summer, there's gonna be feelings of a lot of uncertainty. It's a little bit of that, the combination to me of that Hierophant and that Three of Swords is a little bit of the Moon card, right? Which might speak to you a lot in terms of the Cancer Moon. So it's going to feel like there's a lot of uncertainty, but it's leading to this, and again, like this is the Ace of Chalices, which also came up for Chris. And this card this is a fresh start. This is about feeling so emotionally replete. This is about being genuinely that feeling of, oh, thank goodness, I did the right thing, right? I did what was right for me, and I made it through that time, and now I can enjoy my summer. I can have exactly the kind of summer that I want to have, and that is exactly what you can do. Okay. And that was the Ace of Chalices, and that theme only continues in the fall, but with the 10 of Pentacles, where like, look how happy and settled and comfortable and tangibly grounded you will be in the fall. Okay. So, that's really going to be a time of, okay, you've put in the effort, you've taken that journey, you've, made you made that journey through all the uncertainty, and you've directed your thoughts toward things that are in the future that are right for you. And you've had a great summer, and now you're really raking in that harvest in the fall. Okay. So I think that, support yourself in the ways that you need between now and June. Keep directing your thoughts to the future. What is going to be good for you genuinely, right? This isn't about what you should do. This is not about shoulding on yourself. This is about connecting with your own strengths and your own resources, because you already have so many of them yourself, and really leaning into that. And then you're going to have a fabulous summer and fall. I hope that helps.
Sounds amazing. That's really cool that we get a card in common there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been happening in quite a few of these readings, right? I think we've been getting either cards of similar themes or the same card coming up.
Yeah. Right, my camera seems to be behaving itself for now, so we'll go back to just having two of us rather than having Chris number 2. We'll retire him for the time being. So guys, I want to thank everyone that's been contributing so far, contributing questions and just chat. Lots of really good chat about, people are kind of feeding back on their readings, and lots of really nice feedback. So I want to say thanks to everyone for doing that, because it's, it's actually like readings, tarot reading in general, for me anyway, it's so much better when it's like a conversation rather than just one side telling you all the information. It's better when you can have a wee chat. So just having these wee messages back is great. We're not quite done yet. I've still got one more question to read for, and that is let's see, I'd start it. Truth and Shadow DD. Truth and Shadow DD. So I can see that you'd initially asked for a general reading, Truth and Shadow, but then I can see that you've updated that and said, can I have a 3-month timeline reading? Before we got onto that though, I was thinking, anyone who, if anyone's here and they would like a reading, they want to pop a wee question in, then please pop it in the chat, or say me if you would just like a kind of a generalized reading, and we will happily read for you. Okay, so 3-month timeline. So what I was thinking is we're kind of just coming to the end of Aquarius, and we're coming into Pisces, and I think, is it the 22nd that Pisces starts? I'm not sure. So basically for the next month, we're essentially going to have Pisces, and then after that we'll have Aries, and then we'll have Taurus. Is that right? Pisces, Aries, Taurus.
Aries, Taurus.
So I believe that's the next 3 months. So for our 3 months, rather than doing a um, February, March, April kind of a job, why don't we read for Pisces, Aries, and then
That's a good
Taurus?
idea.
And that'll take, I think that'll take you right up until the end of kind of almost the end of May, isn't it?
Yeah, that's into the end of May, I think,
Yeah. Um,
or second half of May, anyway.
oh, Pisces starts on the 19th, right? Okay, cool. So 3 days away. Um, what would you think about changing up the format here a wee bit, Malamir? So rather than me doing a 3 card reading and chatting and probably getting into a big loop of chatting for about 10 minutes, why don't we do each pull 1 card
Hmm.
for Pisces and hold it up and kind of read them together,
I like it.
and then do the same for each. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Yeah,
Cool.
you keep it fresh.
Yeah. Right. I'll do. No, we don't just want the table. Okay. So for Pisces, ooh, I've got the Nine of Pentacles. So what have you got?
Knight of Swords.
Oh, gosh, how do they both work together?
Go after what the heck it is you want.
Definitely.
Like, really, like, go after it. Right?
Yeah. So this is someone who's worked hard. Do you know what I mean? That um solar plexus chakra, you've worked hard and you've got to get yourself to a place where you're really comfortable with who you are, with your identity, and not just like, hey, my name's Dee and this is me, but also how who you are fits in with your life, how it's got you to where you are. Um the bird here, we often see this bird in the Nine of Pentacles card, and that for me is the kind of it's inspired by I think it's a falcon, is it? On the glove and the Smith weight, and that's a symbol of like a lot of hard work. It took a lot of hard work to get that person to that place, a lot of hard work and discipline. So that this is a card that's very much about, it's not just about having loads of money and spending it. It's like you've worked your absolute arse off in order to get yourself into this position, in order to get yourself into the position where we see in Malamir's card, where you're really secure with who you are and you're ready to go out with that sword and take what you want, fight for what you believe in, and really enjoy yourself. So that is what you're looking at over the next month, I feel. Do
Yeah,
you get
and
any
I
thoughts
think
on that?
I think oh no, so I'm trying to like not put it in front of my face, although I guess it doesn't matter. I think the only thing I would add is don't let stories that you're telling yourself about your past or what you've done in the past, don't let that um don't let that get in the way, okay? Because there's there can also be some the mental cycles that happen when we're looking at the Knight of Swords, um and so I would encourage you to, if there are some limiting stories that are happening that you've been telling yourself, perhaps question them. Have a conversation with those stories that you've been telling yourself. Um, and, you can actually just say to them, like, thank you so much for trying to help me and protect me. But actually, that's not actually helping me at this point. And then you can perhaps look at what stories you can tell yourself about yourself that will help you, right? Because you deserve that Nine of Pentacles, and part of it is going to create the mental space for that for yourself, and let go of some of those older stories that are not actually serving you.
Brilliant. Dee has said this really hits home. They've had amputations with bows, so working hard on getting better. you know, getting
Yeah.
physically better. Yeah, absolutely. That's a really tough time. I'm really sorry to hear that. Um, but I mean you know, these are like, hold up your card again. Look at these two, you know, women that we see in these cards. Really kind of a strong, confident, powerful women, you know.
Yes.
And that's you know, that you have that strength, that confidence, and that power. I suppose it might just be about tapping into it again. Um, Maybe a wee bit of rediscovering yourself. You know, you like reminding
Yes.
yourself of your capabilities with that. Again, like honing in on that solar plexus chakra.
Yeah.
Um, so that's Pisces. Pisces, which can be a really kind of a, you know, when we're in Pisces, we're all in the emotions. You know, every Pisces I know is very much an emotional person. In a really strong, powerful way. So yeah. What about Aries? So I've got the Knight of Pentacles.
I've got the Ace of Wands.
Right. Okay. It's interesting.
And sorry, which one is yours? Yours is the Knight of
The Knight of
Pentacles.
Pentacles. Yeah.
Knight of Pentacles. Well, that's kind of interesting, right? Because the as much as, you know, the knights tend to be about movement, they're actually about slow and steady movement. Like it's the slower of the knight cards, right? And as much as wands, people tend to think, oh, it's fire energy, and you know, it's about, you know, you know, all the capacity and potential of the fire suit, but also, you know, it's just kind of begun, right? So I really think that Aries period is going to be about, you know, you've kind of come through, you'll have thought about some of those, you know, limiting stories, and but reworking those stories for yourself. And then there's going to be an opportunity to question, well, what do you actually want? Right? And what actually truly makes you feel inspired, right? What actually helps you feel truly connected to yourself. And isn't it interesting, Chris, that these characters are looking at each other?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Like
was thinking that.
they're looking toward each other.
They are. They're kind of a. It's almost like there's like a mutual understanding, you know, and it's
Yeah.
quite subtle. It feels.
Yeah.
Like not everyone's going to understand what's happening between them, but yeah, yeah. No, that is really cool. I mean, I pretty much I can only really echo what Malamir's saying. I feel as though, like, you know, probably just with what you're going through just now, what you're kind of a, you know, the kind of a time you're looking at in Pisces. Pisces felt very much about connection to self, you know. It felt very much about your own kind of a image of self and kind of a coming to terms with the stuff, you know, just the changes that you've been through. We're now sitting in Aries now. Aries, incidentally, is a sign that's all about the self. It's about the identity and in and of itself. Um, We've got like the Knight of Pentacles, like Malamir said, it's the slow moving knight. It's the slowest moving of all the knights, you know. Um, your fire. So I've talked about that being like about your purpose, your job, your career, all of that kind of stuff. But also we can make it more general than that. Your fire is how you're asserting yourself on the world around about you. You know, it's your creativity, it's the actions that you take, it's the, you know, the changes that you implement. You know, like it's basically how you're affecting your outside world. You know, so it's your energy and how you're using it. Now, the Knight of Pentacles is maybe saying, right, okay, you're recognizing that how you're going to affect the world about you, how you're going to assert your energy is changing, and maybe you're having to come to terms with, you know, that might change in a way that it's not happening as fast as what you would like or what you're usually used to. But look at, again, talking about, so I need to kind of go in the right direction here. Look at this kind of a mutual understanding between the two. So the Ace of Wands is all for me. The Ace of Fire, the Ace of Wands. It's okay. Well, you know, this isn't all about kind of a winding down to a standstill. this is a rediscovery. This is a real
Mhm.
opportunity to almost like
Yes.
redefine, right? Okay, well, maybe I can't quite do that in the way that I used to. I'll just find a different and even better way to assert my
Yes.
energy on the world, you know? And that's what we're seeing there with the ace. We're looking at that person's looking out. I think is that like through a cave window or something,
Into a cave. Yeah. Yeah. They're going to
into the
this
cave.
cave.
So they're
Yeah.
looking into that cave and they're thinking about all the possibilities, all of the opportunities that they have. And
Yes.
that for me is, so to recap, Pisces is all about how you're looking at yourself. Aries feels like, right, okay, I've kind of worked on myself. Now, how am I asserting myself onto the world around about me? Okay. So finally, we have Taurus.
Mm.
I like this card.
Hmm. I like this
So
card
I've
too.
got the beautiful Queen of Pentacles. Oh, have you
I've
got a
got the
Queen as
Queen of
well?
Wands. Queen of Wands. We got this big queen energy. Big queen energy.
That's really cool.
That
So what
is.
do you
That's
think?
like it's interesting because it's like um, you know, resting but not only just resting, it's like sitting so assuredly and confidently and feeling so grounded and confident, both with what gives you energy and your sense of inspiration, but also, with the Queen of Pentacles, with um, with your tangible life, like actually feeling in a good place. Like this just looks like Taurus season feels just so grounded and confident and inspired.
Yeah, absolutely. I almost feel like so we've got two queens coming up here, okay? So this suggests to me that this is like who you are inside and out. No matter what life throws at you, you like this is what's always going to shine through. That you are a powerful queen. I hope you don't mind the being related to being called a powerful queen. Um, I know not everyone particularly takes kindly to that reference, but what I mean by that is you've got a real strong ability to connect with the people around about you, but not just connect to them. You've got like an innate sense of, you know, you don't just bring out the best in yourself, you know how to bring out the best in the people around about you. Now, through Pisces and Aries, we've seen your kind of a journey to, um, you know, negotiating how you kind of deal with the stuff that's happening to you. Now, this is where like this it's almost like, right, okay, I feel like my old self again. Do you know what I mean? I feel as though I've kind of come back to self. I've come back to this powerful queen that I am, where I can, I'm not just working on myself anymore, and I can help the people around about me that I really care
Yeah.
about. Um, Particularly Queen of Pentacles, it's all about creating that safe space. It's that space where everyone can kind of be their best self. The Queen of Wands does that, but rather than in the Pentacles is maybe a wee bit more tangible. The Queen of Wands, she inspires. It's her fire that it's that warmth that draws people in. She's such an amazing bad bitch. She's just such an inspiration to the people around about her, and she has everyone in the room like, oh my god, I really want to listen to this person. Like this is how I feel about Rachel Pollock. Like every time she opens her mouth to talk about something, I'm just like, oh my god, just keep talking to me. Do you know what I mean? That's Queen of Wands energy. When you feel yourself being really drawn to someone, that's Queen of Wands energy right there. You have that really kind of a powerful energy, and I'm just feeling like in Taurus season that's when you kind of feel like you've got you've got that ability. You've almost like reclaimed it back for yourself. You've got your old self back again, and your ability to do that and just help the people around about you. Which I feel like that must be something that you're quite passionate about, given that we've got these two queens that have come up. They've waited until the end. We've saved the best for last. They've come up together. So there's a really strong message there for you. Um, so yeah. I hope that that's helpful for you. That was actually, I really enjoyed doing the reading in that way.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, something a wee bit different.
Yeah, I like it.
So Dee says, I'm feeling better already. This gives clarity and inspiration. So that's nice to hear. We always like that. Okay, so I think we've had another question come in. Are you? I never checked times with you, Malamir. Are you good to kind of keep going until we've done all
I
the
think
questions?
so. I should be able to do this one last one. I do need to get going fairly soon, but I'm definitely okay to do another.
Okay, brilliant. So this will be the last question, people. Once we're done, I will check PayPal. I'll let you all know how much we've managed to raise. And yeah, we will call it a wrap. So if I pop that there, so it's Palak Sharma says, can I have a general reading for the year, please? I'm Virgo Moon and Leo Sun.
How do you want to do this, Chris?
We can do, I can do elements again, or if you want to do like quarters, or if you would rather do elements.
No,
Up
no.
to you.
I'm good. Yeah, I can do quarters.
Cool.
I mean, Palak, it looks like as a general theme, the first half of the year, they're both pages that came up. Page of Wands for the first quarter, Page of Pentacles for the second quarter. So these are, the January through June basically. And it's interesting because there's a lot of similar energy going on there. Although it'll probably feel different, right? I mean, I think if I'm right here, that you're perhaps facing a period of some decision making. You've got some decision making that's going on right now, and you're really taking time, kind of with the hermit to consider and think about, well, where are you going next, right? Like you've taken a bit of a respite to think of, okay, where do I need to focus my attention next? And so it feels like currently with the Page of Wands that you're exploring, perhaps what makes you feel more energized, what really, what helps you feel alive. And the next quarter, you're going to be thinking about, oh, but then how do I translate that into something that also, takes care of my material needs? And what do I have to learn and build on, both about whatever this decision is related, but also about myself and how I connect to other people to make that happen. And so I think that there's a lot of self exploration happening. Like this is really the big theme I'm getting at for this year. It feels like, at least the cards I have all pulled, and I'll get to the others shortly. This is all internal. Okay. The cards that are coming up for me, and maybe Chris will have other cards more about other things happening external to you, but all these cards are very, very, internal to your own consideration, your own exploration, your own decision making. Okay. So for the first part of the year, you're thinking about, well, what actually inspires me? Like, what do I actually want to spend my time doing? What do I actually care about? Right. And really thinking about that and trying to learn about yourself, what inspires you, followed by the Page of Pentacles, which is, okay, but then how do I actually do this? How do I translate this into something that is actually meaningful for me. Now, it looks like this will be followed in the summer with a period of some shadow work. I would really encourage you, and it might sound funny, and I don't know where you live. If you live in a place that is in the southern hemisphere, actually, then it's very congruent with shadow work. But I would encourage you in the summer, do some shadow work. Okay, so between July through September, and when I say shadow work, I mean because I think all of your exploration that's happening through January through June is going to be very much about, what is it, what inspires you, what do you want to do, how do you actually make it tangible? But then that's sometimes when limiting beliefs come up, and those limiting beliefs are going to be what requires you to do a little bit of shadow work to question well, what am I, what am I believing that is actually holding me back, right? And where do I need to actually just believe in myself, and where do I need to really listen to my own intuition? Okay. And then it'll be followed, I think, in the fall by, you'll have some tough decisions you'll actually have to make. And this card has come up again. This came up earlier in another reading. And, to me, this card is about decision making. This is about, how are you going to, now that you've done all this kind of self-discovery and exploration in the first, half of the year, and then you've really, worked through yourself internally throughout the summer on, wrestling through some of that. Now it's decision time. Okay. The fall will really be decision time in terms of what you want those next steps to be, and making sure that you're aligning your decisions with what it is that you actually want. Okay. So, I think that this really is a year of a lot of self-reflection and a lot of self-discovery. So I encourage you throughout that year to keep coming back to the Hermit card as your North Star. Okay. I think that the Hermit card as your North Star is really going to be supportive of you. And what I mean by that is that come back to who you are as a person. Okay. That's like the solar plexus. And what matters to you as a person, and to really connect in with that, because what matters to you as a person, your values, what you really deeply care about, that is going to help to be your North Star as this year goes on. Over to you, Chris.
Amazing. Okay, so I appear to be frozen, but you can see the cards, so that's fine. In terms of so I'm doing this elementally, Palak. So I've got your fire here with the Eight of Pentacles. So that tells me that there's a lot going on, and potentially your career, or the things that we're passionate about, the ways that we make an impact on the world. There's a lot going on. We've got an 8, it's quite a high number, but the 8 is a card about mastery. This tells me that it's very much business as normal for you now. You're very much capable of handling all of the stuff that you've got going on, at least in terms of actually, getting it done. So it tells me, like, professionally, you're very capable. These two cards for air, we've got the King of Cups, and for water, we've got the Two of Pentacles. So this kind of suggests to me that maybe a wee bit more attention being paid as to how all of this stuff that you've got going on with the Eight of Pentacles, don't underestimate the impact that can have on you as a person, both mentally and emotionally. Let me just switch to just the table so that I'm not making stupid faces. The King of Cups. Mentally, this is telling me that you're... In fact, no, do you know what? Let's tackle the Two of Pentacles first, because this, the Eight of Pentacles, the kind of right, hang on. I need to kind of reassess how I'm going to explain this, because do you know what this makes me think of? We all get those times in our life where there's one thing that takes precedence. Okay, so maybe it's work, maybe it's you put all of your energy and focus into work, which means you're doing really well in work. but it means that there's other areas of your life. Perhaps it's your, your relationships, perhaps it's your own mental well-being. They kind of fall by the wayside a wee bit. That's kind of the feeling, the type of feeling that I'm getting. Now, I'm not saying that it specifically worked for you, but I feel as though there's one thing in your life that's taking all of your energy, all of your focus, and this Two of Pentacles is the kind of a effect of that it's taken on you emotionally, Black. Okay, so things are going really well when you just hone in on that one thing that you've got going on. But when you kind of take a step back, we can actually see all of this other stuff. Now, see how the kind of the physical bag is kind of what we see in the Eight of Pentacles, right? That's happening okay. But all of this kind of emotional stuff that we see represented by this celestial body here, she's kind of struggling to pull that along behind her. Okay, so there's stuff in the background, and I feel as it's like your emotional and mental well-being that's maybe suffering a bit for the amount of focus that we're giving on this one thing. Now, this one thing we really care about, and that's why we're putting all our focus into it. But it's like the King of Cups is coming in the mental space to say, right, you need to kind of you need to sit down and look at what you're doing, think about this logically, you know. Um, the King of Cups is, for me, it's the intellectual energy, and that kind of a management and managing intellectual energy and the emotional space. So this is saying to you, you need to kind of really think about this. You need to think about yourself, think about your emotional well-being, okay, and you need to kind of almost take control of that. All right. Um, so it's like it's encouraging. It's a wee bit of self care. Essentially, is what it is. It's encouraging you to kind of look after yourself, and not just kind of going after these aspirations that we see in the Eight of Pentacles. Um, how this takes form, the Earth. It's the Knight of Swords, and my knight here is like running. We can see him. He's running. He's got his crossbow on his back. He's running towards his motorbike. So it almost feels as though like how this manifests in your world is because you've got so much going on here. It's like you're moving from A to B. You're constantly on the move. You've constantly got something that needs to be done, and you just need to take some hint from this king. You need to stop for a wee minute and just give yourself some space, some head space, some emotional space, just to kind of bring a wee bit of calm back into what's going on in your life. Okay. Um, Something that I always think about with the Two of Pentacles is I think of the plates spinning analogy. So it might be that I wouldn't be surprised if you were to turn around and say, Palak, look, do you know what? That doesn't really ring true for me. I think the reason it doesn't ring true is because, like, in the Eight of Pentacles, we feel as though we're doing really well. The Two of Pentacles, you've got lots and lots of plates spinning, and sure, you might be managing them just now, but it's only a matter of time before one of those plates falls and smashes. And when one falls, generally it unsettles the balance and more fall. What we actually need to do is we need to make a conscious decision. We need to think, right, do you know what? That thing that I'm trying to do can go in the back burner for now. That's not as important as these two things. I'm going to choose to do these two things really well. And that is going to kind of take the back seat for a bit. So it's just being a wee bit more conscious about the things that were, the places, the A's and B's that we're running to, the stuff that we're putting our focus in. And focusing on yourself a wee bit more is what I feel is needed here. So that to me is your theme for the year. It's all about kind of a wee bit more self care and focus on the self. Okay, so
Again, a lot of
uh,
alignment between the messages that came through on both of our sides, Chris.
yeah, yeah, I know. Um, yeah, no, it was really good. So it was. Um, So yeah, Palak, I hope that resonates. I hope that that's helpful. And yeah, just kind of come back to it. Like Malamir talked about the hermit being the North Star. So just keep coming back to these things like through the year, because although maybe right now you don't see it, there'll come a point where you'll be like, ah, right, okay, okay. I see what they were talking about, right? Let's come back to that hermit as that North Star. Let's think about all of the other messages that we got. How can we try and kind of affect this situation? Okay, so I think my camera is still a wee bit frozen. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back we're going to bring Chris number 2 back. But first of all, I just want to log into PayPal on my phone. I think we've done really well, by the way, guys. Okay, so far the total that we've raised in pounds and pound sterling is £81.36.
Oh,
In
that's great.
Canadian, yeah, in Canadian dollars, that's $131.21.
That's great.
And then in US dollars for those, because I know lots of you are in the US, that equates to $97.41, so just under $100. So I'm going to donate that to the Red Cross. My understanding is that's going to get matched, so we'll essentially be doubling that up. So that's, Canadian dollars were well over, we're approaching $300. So I
Yeah,
can't
I
thank
mean,
you all enough.
yeah, like Canadian, that's because it's all being matched, right? So that's
Mhm.
that's great.
Yeah, it's amazing. Right, let me just bring myself back. Let's bring Chris 2 back to give us all a farewell, and then we shall call it an evening.
You're getting some shout
So,
outs, Chris, in the chat.
oh, that's really sweet. Let me just. Oh
There
no,
you are.
no.
Uh-oh, we're getting double sound.
Yeah, you were right. That should be fixed now.
Oh, that's better.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, let's get rid of Chris number 1. Oh no, I can't get rid of Chris number 1 because he is
No,
where
because
the
that'll
sound
log
comes
us.
from. Okay, right. Malamir, thank you so much for doing this with me. It was your idea, so thanks very much for inspiring me to do this. Thanks very much for being here with me, for reading with me. It's always a pleasure. But to do this with me for such an amazing cause is absolutely brilliant. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So yeah, thank you so much for all your time and for all your energy and your lovely tarot readings.
Well, and thank you for being open to it. I didn't know if you were going to be like, I'd rather just do a live or whatever. So I really appreciate that. I appreciate your heart to share your platform for such a great cause. And it's always fun reading with you. I love reading with you and chatting with you anytime. And also thanks so much for everyone for being here and for people who are able to do donations. And just for everyone for contributing in all the ways that you contributed, right? Like being here, being present, contributing in the chat. Thank you for all of that as well.
Yeah, yeah, I'll echo that. Thank you so much to everyone in the chat. Not just to those of you that have had readings that have brought questions for us, but those of you that's kind of kept the chat going, all my moderators who've just kind of just keep their eye on things. I really, really appreciate it. And of course, thank you to everyone who's been able to donate. It's such an amazing cause to donate to. I'm sure our hearts all go out to all the devastation, all the people that have been affected by the earthquake. So it's just nice to be able to kind of do a wee something for them and send a wee bit of help. Feel as though we're doing just a small bit. So thank you so much, everyone. I'll love you all and leave you. But thank you. Quick note. This weekend is the Mary L study group. Because next Thursday is the last Thursday of the month. So for anyone who's Malamir, I know that you normally come to the study group, so this is a reminder for you, as much for me, as
Yeah.
much for everyone else. Mary L study group time is next week, so I shall hopefully see you and everyone else there. But again, thank you everyone. Take care, and I'll see you all later. Bye everyone.